Yo, what is up everyone? Tachi here. So today we are going to be watching the 1 month since SINoAlice launch reply from the Pisan over at Pokelabo. So let's just take a look at it. I will be inserting my comments in between the questions that he is answering. So let's see what he has to say.
皆さんこんにちは。SINoAliceのプロデューサーの前田翔です。皆様のおかげで、先日SINoAliceをリリースして1ヶ月を迎えることができました。そこで1ヶ月を記念して事前に SNS で募集した、質問の中から、今日重要なものについて、答えていきたいと思います。それでは最初の質問をやってみます。こちら。はい、まず質問1。日本版よりイベントペースが速く、またガチャも多いというところですが、まず日本版の初期と比べてグローバル版はかなり環境が違います。日本版の初期はまともな運営がなかなかできませんでしたが、グローバル版は、日本と違った、楽しみを提供する意図もあり、季節やプロモスケジュールによって変化をしてきます。また、これ以上ペースを速くすることは考えておらず、末永く楽しんでいただけるように、運営を目指しています。はい。
Alright, I'm gonna have to stop there. Alright, let's get some facts straight. He's not wrong. I did play JP Day 1. It was definitely an experience, to say the least. High ping, frequent disconnects, and straight up just servers just coming down for hours. He's not wrong there. But events, honestly, we are getting about the same pace, maybe a bit faster, but banner wise, we're definitely getting significantly more banners than JP ever had in their first month. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna go ahead and say that we probably got 3, maybe almost 4 months worth of JP banners in our first month. Grand Coliseum wasn't out for the first month, so it's not exactly relevant to the first month of the game. Obviously, regardless of how they want to put it, the release of the banners being sped up did affect the player base in global region to some extent. So let's move on to the next point.
続いて質問2です。ガチャの割合に対して無償の魔晶石の数が少ないというところですが、魔晶石の数はですね、8月から、グラコロや射的イベント、メダルイベントなど、より多く獲得するイベントが、ございます。また、ガチャのペースですね、早いものに関しては、ピックアップのステップガチャを入れて確定にするなどして、皆様に取りやすくなるように考えているところでございます。
Alright. They're not wrong. Like I said, Grand Coliseum is really going to help us out a lot. Remember, that is at least for a very, very low rank guild, at least 900 crystals. You're split up into divisions, so there are going to be 3 first place, whatever, right? So super whales in Division 1 eventually are not going to have to fight against the super weak people in Division 3, which would be great news for you guys. That means that people in lower guilds, new guilds, don't have to compete against us. Now, that being said, the first month, sorry guys, you are going to have to fight against really strong people. There's not really much we can do about that. I don't even think the company could really do anything. Everyone's starting out in Division 3, so you're just going to have to deal with that. Now, in regard to the Step Grimoire, the guaranteed SR, I'm not sure how I feel about that. Like, yes, obviously, guaranteed SR is pretty helpful. But if you guys saw my recent summoning video, which I will have linked in the top right in a little card, it looks like an eye. Yeah, doesn't help when the one that you want is not the one that you get. So it's helpful, but that doesn't mean you're going to spend less. Anyhow, let's continue.
はい、続いて質問3ですね。イベントステージの難易度が高いという質問をいただいております。ノーマルはできる限り幅広く楽しんでいただけるよう、難易度はある程度コラボイベントなどは低くしています。ただですね、ハードはより、歯ごたえがある。
Is he playing the same game we're playing? Yeah. Obviously, hard mode is hard. It's a little on the nigh impossible side for the average user. I don't know what the minimum requirements are. Someone in the comments, feel free to let me know. Can you guys clear it with a full team of 80, 90Ks? It's not like impossible, but I can imagine the lower you go, especially people who didn't start in the first like week or two, it might be a little bit harder for you guys, especially free to plays. And in regards to other events, like for example, Fafnir verse 3, that one's pretty difficult, even with pre-made. I actually haven't cleared it yet. I don't know if you guys have cleared it. Maybe I'll make a guide on it when I do figure out how to beat it, but I've been having a lot of difficulties on that. Even with a full pre-made, it's just not enough. So yeah, I really wish they had toned down the difficulty a little bit. I don't know. No, you know what? They probably were this hard in JP, and they just kind of said, you know what? Even if you can't beat it, just deal with it. But I would have liked for them, especially being early events, for them to have been beatable by at least like good accounts right now, which would probably be somewhere between 100 and 130k, right? If you are at 100 and something k as a free to play right now, you're doing really good. If you're at 110, 120, fantastic, right? I'm at 130k and I still am having trouble with this content. So maybe it should have been toned down a tad. I don't know in what aspect, but personally, I would have liked them to be toned down just a bit. Not much, just a bit. I do like hard content. I just want it to be beatable. Let's move on to the next question.
ゲームになるように、少し難しくなっているところもあります。ただですね、世界観などは、シナリオとかはノーマルをですね、クリアしていけばほぼ 100% 楽しむことができますので、そこは皆さん心配しなくても大丈夫でございます。はい、続いて質問4ですね。素材のドラップ率が低い&ゲリラの時間が合わないというところですが、ドロップ率が低いことに関してますね、8月のイベントで、かなり報酬が素材が獲得できるので、皆さんそちらで獲得してください。またですね、
that doesn't actually answer the question. If we are going to be getting the lack of materials made up for in events, which is pretty much what I expected anyways, I guess it's okay. But that still doesn't really address the issue. I don't think necessarily when people say drop rates are too low, I don't think they mean like EXP drop rates or like evil material drop rate. Not even just dragon shackles, right? I'm pretty sure people are talking about like even nightmares, the things that are at 1% rate and people have been farming it for like 3-4 days and they still don't have it. I'm pretty sure people are talking about stuff like that. Dragon shackles, yeah, it's a low drop rate, but it's doable. It's really not that hard. Probably you need like 2, maybe 3 refreshes to get the handful that you need. It's really not that big of a deal, but getting nightmare drops, I've seen people that still don't have a meal and they've been farming that every day. So I think that's a bigger concern that wasn't addressed here. Let's see the gorilla times.
ゲリラの時間が合わないという方のために、自由な時間に、素材イベントができるような、鍵イベントも、今準備をしているので、そちらもお楽しみにしていただければと思います。
Alright, so this is actually really good news for us. It is nice that they are adding keys. Obviously, this is actually, I'm pretty sure this is actually in most gacha games by now, to have a way to enter dungeons that are normally time limited whenever you want. It's good to see that SINoAlice is finally putting them in. And hopefully it was global that influenced that. That is great news for us in general. There's no reason why it shouldn't be the case anyways. Now it really is just going to come down to how often do we get those keys and are they like renewable resources, right? So if they are as common as purification tickets, that would be nice. So let's move on to the next question.
続いて質問5ですね。マッチングでランク差があるギルドと当たることがあるんですけど、マッチングは今日々改善をしております。また、マッチングはですね、データがたくさん溜まれば溜まるほど、良いマッチングになってきますので、それはもう少し時間を待っていければ良くなっていくので、精度に関しては今後も引き続き、どんどん改善をしていきます。
Yep, that's pretty much what I expected. I've been trying to look into what actually makes Colo work, but unfortunately I really can't find any correlations that make sense. Obviously the biggest and pretty much the determining factor is obviously your time slot, right? You can't be matched with someone outside of your time slot, but for some reason there doesn't seem to be any like real link between your rank and the enemy's rank, right? There's just simply too many people in very active time slots that are fighting as B guilds against S guilds, right? And we're not talking about dead time slots. You know what? I understand if your time slot is shit and there's only like 6 guilds in there, someone's gonna get fucked. But if you're in a very active time slot like 7 p.m. or midnight EST, there's no excuse for a B rank to be fighting an S rank. But anyways, let's move on to the next question.
続いて質問6です。通信エラーが多いというところですが、ここは皆様に、ご迷惑をおかけしております。通信エラーに関してはですね、エンジニアが今、改善を、しておるところでございます。またもうすでにですね、リリースから比べると、結構改善は進んでおりまして、だいぶ良くなってきているので、引き続き、こちらも良くなるよう改善をしていきます。
I'm gonna be honest, I can't say I've actually run into that many issues. The closest thing to an error was when I thought the game crashed, but in reality, my internet just stopped working. So, other than that, yeah, I never really received any errors. Now, I have heard a couple of my members DC, but at least as far as I can tell, most of them have been people playing on like really old phones, like Samsung S5, like old, like really old, or they're playing on an emulator, but it's like either an outdated emulator or it's just a really, really old computer. So I don't know. All right, let's move on to the next question.
はい、続いて質問7ですね。マルチデバイスで遊ぶにはデータ移行がしづらいというところですが、まずですね、データ移行機能のですね、SNS 連携からこちら今アンインストールしないと引き継ぎができないところをアンインストールしないでも引き継ぎできるような画面遷移を考えています。ただですね、このデータ移行機能は本来、端末変更機能を想定している機能でありまして、今のものから画面遷移以上の改善というところはなかなか工数もあって、今のところは多くは考えておりません。
So TLDR, in case that last part kind of confused you, they're basically explaining that when they originally released it, it was pretty much you broke your phone and you want to transfer it onto a working phone, which makes sense from a Japanese perspective. It's not common for you to play on an emulator in the first place, let alone swap between emulator and phone often, right? So it makes sense from a Japanese perspective why they wouldn't have it. Although from a quality of life perspective, it doesn't make any sense to not have both anyways, right? Just to have the option for the few Japanese people that would do it. But that being said, when they say that they're not thinking of doing much more than improving the transition screens, they mean the downloading part. So they're going to remove the whole thing about you having to fully delete the game data and re-download it fully. So you'll pretty much just get into the game. There'll probably be a button somewhere on the main screen. So you just hit that and you would log in with your Facebook, Twitter, whatever. And then you're good to go. Pretty much exactly how every other gacha game works, pretty much. Other than the ones that are actually using the superior method, in my opinion, albeit it is less secure, is the one that it's tied to a Google Play account. And as long as you're logged into that Google Play account, it will just automatically log you into that account in the game. But it is what it is. We are not going to get that. We will just get the better version of what we have now. So let's go on to the next question.
最後ですね、8番目の質問です。コロシアムの報酬を多くしてほしいというところです。こちらはですね、グランコロシアムはですね、もうすぐ開催されるんですけども、これはSINoAliceで一番報酬が獲得できる、イベントになっておりますので、それを遊んでいただければと思います。
One, that's not answering the question, and two, y'all EN players are so greedy. Do you guys want diamonds from Coliseum? Already getting over 4,500 as a very low mid rank player. I know I haven't played other gacha games other than Brave 9 in a long time, consistently on a daily basis, but I'm pretty sure that's well above average. And I will use the example of the game that's really popular right now, Exo's Heroes. I would still only be able to pull at best 1/4 of the banners in the game. And from what I remember in Epic 7 when I played, which has been about 2 years and something, if I'm not mistaken, you were not able to pull half of the banners, like at all, let alone pity them. That was just not a thing, bro. So I don't know. I feel like this is a little bit too much on the greed side, but I do get the whole thing of wanting to get more, but you guys do have to chill a little bit. Let's continue with this.
またそれ以外にもですね、グランコロシアム以外もコロシアムのイベントだったりとか、新しいボーナスですね、こちらも予定していますので、そちらも楽しみにしていただければと思います。 最後に、現在予定しているアップデートはこちらになります。
Alright, so let's look at this final list and then we'll end the video. So, allowing the user to unselect their target after targeting. Now, this pretty much just saves you a couple seconds because there is some weird delay when it comes to targeting in between two different targets. Most people instinctively, probably because they're used to it from other games, they'll like double click on a target and they'll try to unselect, but it doesn't work that way. So that would be great. In case you guys aren't aware, when you double click on a target, you do an auto attack. So it's pretty shit that when you instinctively, based on things that you've learned in other games, double click on someone to unselect them, you attack and you waste time. So the next one is displaying badges on random co-op screen when a friend is battling. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know exactly what this means, but I'm assuming it means like when you go into a stage, it'll show something that's like, hey, your friend's playing, go back to the co-op screen and join their co-op. I'm assuming it's something like that. Adding the item stack feature. Again, this is pretty much something I think I if I'm not mistaken, I had talked about this. This is a feature where your EXP and other materials are stacked into one thing instead of basically eating up your inventory, which is great. It means that we don't have to deal with basically overflowing inventory. And by the way, just in case you guys are not aware, we will be receiving full compensation for any crystals that we happen to have used in increasing our storage, or at least that's how JP was treated. So if you guys happen to have spent anything on that, don't worry about that. Hopefully if they keep their, they keep the schedule and everything of how things worked in JP. Adding everyday pull feature. This has actually been pretty requested in the Ian community. I can kind of understand why, although I really don't think it's going to make much of a difference. I guess. Personally, I don't think that free pool should give you medals. But other than that, I mean, I guess it helps for people that get lucky. Let's see what else. So, improving the Coliseum results screen. I'm going to be honest, I don't know exactly what this is referring to. I have heard people say that the screen that shows like the debuff and attack and life force combo, all of that stuff, that is not like 100% accurate. That it's a little, not even just like a little inaccurate. It's like it's completely useless, right? So maybe they mean that. Not sure. Raising player rank cap. This is good. This means that we can farm out more rank cap so that we can have higher HP, which is good. Currently, max cap is 120. So hopefully we get to see it increase to 240. That'll be nice. Improving equipment filtering feature. I'm not exactly sure what this is referring to. Maybe being able to sort by skill, I guess. That would be nice. And other than that, releasing developers notes. So that at least means that they're trying to be more transparent with releases, and especially ahead of time, which is always good news. I do like knowing what we are going to be getting, usually about a day or two before, or sometimes even weeks. That's great. But anyways, guys, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Hopefully you guys are looking forward to all of this stuff. I certainly am. So anyways, guys, I am out. Have a nice day.